Hello my friends, Amy Esther here, and today I wanted to share with you the story of quitting my job because of some chronic illnesses that I was suffering from, and I'm still suffering from, clearly. That's why I have this whole YouTube channel, is to share my life with chronic illness. But I want to share you the story of quitting my job and how I thought that my chronic illnesses had ruined my career, had ruined my life, and how instead it has just brought me down a different path that has been way better than what I ever could have imagined. So it's funny, when I thought about this video, my husband actually told me, you need to make a video about quitting your job. And he's like, you need to title it, How Chronic Illness Ruined My Career. And so I had that written on I just have a big list of suggested videos, and anytime you guys suggest one or I think of one, I just put it on this list. So I had that written on there, How Chronic Illness Ruined My Career. And I was thinking about it, and I was like, I used to think that. I used to think that my chronic illness ruined my career, and now I think totally differently. I think it's just brought me to a different place in my life. So I still want to share with you that story of how I quit my job, but I wanted to end this video instead of saying, you know, poor me, I can't work anymore like I thought I would. I want to instead end it with more of a positive message about how I went from feeling like my career and my life was ruined to this can be a beautiful life. It's just different than I expected. So that's the story I want to share with you today. If you're new here, I am Amy Esther, and obviously I have several chronic illnesses. You can learn all about them on my channel. I have links in the description below about all of the different chronic illnesses I have if you want to learn exactly what I have. And I share here on YouTube about my life with chronic illness. So if you're interested in that, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel so you don't want to miss any of the videos I make. I make lots of tips and tricks videos on how to do life while living with chronic illness. So let's get started first with why did I quit my job? What led me to that? So you guys who have been here before, most of you know my story. Or at least you know parts of my story, depending on how much of my channel you've seen. But the very simplest way to explain it, I will link down below my whole story about all my chronic illnesses, so you can learn all about them if you want to. But if you don't have time for that, the quick version is I got really sick, started with stomach problems, ended up basically just like moving all around my body, to my muscles, to my head, to my feet, to my legs, to everything was out of whack. It was over about a year, I would say, from when it started to when I was just like incapable of getting out of bed or doing anything. And I was just so sick. And during that year, I was working. So the beginning, when things first started, I was on my last semester of college. I was going to college to be a math teacher. So I got a degree in math and health education. So I was certified to teach math or health from 6th grade to 12th grade. And I had planned on doing math teaching, but because I just kind of had a passion for health and all of that, I decided to also get certified in that as well while I was in school. So I was finishing up my last semester and of actual school, and then I had student teaching. So I technically had one more semester to go. And it started, my chronic pain started about March. My last semester was from April to July. The school I went to did 3 semesters a year. They had fall, spring, and winter. No, fall, winter, spring were their semesters. So they had 3. So I was in that last block, that summer blocks, I think they call it spring. In the spring block, I was up finishing my schooling. I went to BYU, Idaho, Brigham Young University, Idaho. And my husband and I just got married. He went up there with me. We finished my last semester, and then we moved to Utah for me to do student teaching. And I was student teaching at a school, and I was on A days I was at a high school. On A days, I was doing math. I was teaching math, and on B days, I was teaching health. And at that time when I started, it was September. And like I said, it was probably about a year, maybe a little less than a year from everything started around March. And it was probably around January to March of the next year where I was just got to the point where I just couldn't, it was just hard to get out of bed basically. So by September, I was not doing well, but I was still functioning. I was still able to go student teach every day. I was just like a little bit miserable. I thought most of my stuff was stomach issues, so I was going to a lot of GI doctors, and I wasn't feeling great. Then about 2 months into my student teaching, I still had 2.5 months to go. The teacher I was student teaching with quit. She decided to leave and pursue a different career. And the math teacher, I should say, because I was doing math and health. The math teacher I was working with decided to quit, and her job was available. And so I applied to it, and I got the job. And it was my dream job. I loved it. Like, I didn't dislike student teaching, but I felt, you feel kind of inferior because the kids know, especially in high school, they know you're a student teacher. But when I got hired, I was just so happy. I felt like I was really good at it. So now I was teaching math full time every day, and I was still finishing my student teaching. So I had to do all the student teaching stuff, extra assignments, case studies. I don't remember what all the stuff I had to do, and then meet with someone who's in charge of us in that area every week. So I still had meetings and stuff for student teaching, but then I was also a real teacher. So I was doing a lot and I was still getting sicker, but I was so happy to be teaching. I remember it was the first time in my life where I would wake up in the morning excited to go to work. And I had worked places that I would say I liked. Like, I worked places that I enjoyed, but never was I just like so excited to go to work as I was now. And then the school day was another thing that I noticed about teaching, was that I didn't watch the clock. Every other job I'd ever had, even ones that I liked, I would watch the clock and I'd see, okay, how much time do I have left? How much time do I have left? And this was the first job where I was like, you know what? I don't look at the clock at all. In fact, I'm more racing against the clock to get as much done during my, during each class, that there's almost not enough time. And that was the first time I'd ever experienced that. So I was like, I was meant to be a math teacher. Like, this is my dream. I'm good at it. There are some people who are good at math, but it takes a different type of person to be good at teaching math. And I knew I was good at it. Like, it was just my calling to be a math teacher. And I was loving every day, but I was getting sicker and sicker every single month. So in December, I officially graduated from college. Even though I was already working, I had officially graduated, finished all the student teaching stuff. And I remember I was using all of my leave for doctor's appointments. And during Christmas break, I actually had a surgery. I had a laparoscopic surgery, got my endometriosis removed and some cysts removed. And like, I just used every day off to go to the doctor. And again, January to March is when it really just like took a deep dive, where my health just got really, really bad. And during those months, I was missing every couple weeks, I would miss a day to go get a colonoscopy or get some kind of test done. And then I ended up going to a holistic doctor because I wasn't having any success with anything. We couldn't really figure out what was wrong, and I was just finding no help. So I went to more of a holistic, like naturopath doctor, and he put me on UBI treatments, ultraviolet blood irradiation treatment. If you haven't heard what that is, I'm happy to do a whole video on it, but it made me so sick. Like, I could not get out of bed after I got those treatments. Basically what they do is they take your blood out, they zap it with the UV rays, and then they send it back in. And all I guess they weren't nurses. Are they nurses at a naturopath? I don't know. All the nurse ladies were telling me like, oh, it makes you feel amazing. You'll have so much energy. And I felt awful. So I called the principal of the school and I said, I need to take 2 weeks off while I do this treatment because I am like, it's making me really, really sick. So I found another math teacher to take my place to teach math for me for 2 weeks. And I took those 2 weeks off, extremely sick from those treatments. And then I went back and really wasn't feeling that much better. I was just struggling to get through every day. And I started watching the clock and I started dreading Mondays and I started dreading the morning. And it was so sad because I seriously thought, this is my dream job. I love every moment of it. But because I was so sick, I was miserable. And I felt like my teaching had gone downhill because I just didn't have the energy to prep as much as I would have liked to, because I was really struggling. And that was around March that I got those UBI treatments. And school, remember, ends, at least the normal school year where we live, ends the end of May. So I was just waiting for summer. And I thought, once summer comes, I'm just going to go to all the doctors. We're going to figure out what's wrong. And then I'm come back the next year and I'm going to be healed and everything's going to be amazing. And April was the worst of the worst. I remember planning days that I could miss. I would look at my schedule for teaching and say, oh, test day, I am taking that day off. And I would literally just plan, because I knew I'd be sick. Every day I was sick. And I'd plan days that would work to take off. And I ended up using all of the leave I had for the whole year. And I had 1 month left in school. And during about February to April, every single day my husband said, you need to quit your job. You need to quit your job. You can't do this anymore. And let me just tell you about our situation. We were living in a basement apartment. We'd only been married about a year. My husband was going to school full time and working, I think, 1 day a week. Not making a ton of money, just kind of like extra cash. And I was providing for us. And that was the plan. I would provide until my husband finished school, and then I would be a stay-at-home mom. Because I'd always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But I thought, this is the path that we're going on. I'm just going to keep working till my husband finishes. I'm going to get him through school. And then when we're ready to have kids, I'll take some time off and raise my children. And then I'll go back to teaching once they're in school. Like, I had this perfect plan for my life. And my husband seriously was making nothing. You guys, like, hardly anything. And I hear a lot of you guys tell me this. Like, I can't quit my job. I have to provide for my family. I can't quit my job. And that's exactly how I felt, is I was like, I can't, like, it's not an option. I didn't think it was an option, which now I realize it's always an option. There's always a plan B. There's always a scapegoat. There's always something else you can do. And so the last week in April, that was my puppy just whining, and I think she's yawning. She's taking a nap. Anyway, last week in April comes, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was just, I woke up one day and I was just like, I just don't think I can finish out a school year. I have 1 month, 4 weeks left. And I'm a very religious person. And so I prayed about it and I felt peace about quitting my job. And I felt like God was saying, Amy, you've pushed yourself far enough. You need to take a break. You can't do this anymore. You need to quit your job. And so one day, just seriously, the day before I was planning on finishing the year, being miserable, the next day I went into the principal's office. Sounds like I was in high school, but I went in terrified. And I said, I quit. I am so sick. I can't do this anymore. And he was not happy. He was not happy at all. They had their end of level test the week after I went into this principal. And he was not happy. And I understood. And I don't like when people I don't like making people mad. I am no longer a people pleaser. I used to be a big time people pleaser, but I would rather just have everyone be happy with the things that I do. And he was not happy. And I was embarrassed, and I left his office, and the vice principal came in later. I think I had talked to the principal, and he had told me, like, I'd like you to finish until like end of levels, like at least stay till end of levels. And I was like, okay, because I was just like so timid. I was just this brand new teacher, didn't know what I was doing. And the vice principal came into me and he said, Amy, this is your last day. And I said, are you sure? Like, I feel bad. I need to like help. And he's like, no, I can see it in your face. You are so sick. I've talked to the other math teachers. They've told me what's been going on, because I hadn't really told them much besides that 2 weeks that I needed to take off for my UBI treatments. He was like, you are so sick. Like, he could just see it in my face. And he said, you're not coming into work tomorrow. You're going to apply for this, they called it catastrophic leave, which basically means at the beginning of the year, everyone who, they get like 10 days of leave or something around there. And then you can put one of your days in this catastrophic leave bank. And so if 300 teachers put one day in, there's 300 days, right? And what it is if you put one in, put a day into your catastrophic leave, then you can use it if you end up needing it. If not, someone else gets to use it. So basically, I got this special catastrophic leave, meaning I got paid for the rest of the school year, which was nice because I ended up, of course, I didn't get paid for the summer, but I got a check up until August. And that was just a huge blessing. I felt like that was just an answer from heaven that, yes, this was the right thing to do, because I, at that point, didn't care about money. I didn't care about anything. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to quit. And so that was huge, because that meant my husband didn't need to find a full-time job until August. But another huge blessing, again, I'm religious, and so I believe that this was just blessings from heaven. But my husband, literally the week after I quit, his boss offered him a full-time position with benefits and salary and all the things that we needed. And he was able to finish every semester with night classes and online, which it was crazy because that semester that he was working on, that last semester before I quit, he did all of the last classes that had to be done in person, like all the math classes, all the things that had to be done on campus in person. Everything else he was able to do night classes and online. And so he started working full time. I quit my job, and basically we went from both of us working all the time, him doing school and some work and me just working full time, to me doing literally nothing and him working 40 hours a week and doing full-time school, 12 to 16 hours every semester of school until he graduated, which was 2 years after that. 1 year? Was it 1 year? 1.5? I think it was like a year and a half after that he graduated. Anyway, point is, it felt terrible. I felt like a terrible wife because I'm doing nothing and he's just working for me all day, every day. And we ended up moving in with my in-laws too, to one, save money, also have more support and be closer to, my parents lived close to my in-laws. And so it was a rough time. And it's funny because, like I said, my brain told me I can't quit my job. This isn't an option. And it was like, you know what? No, there are options. And we were able to figure it out. We were able to move in with family for a little bit. And of course, it's not ideal, some of the things we were going through with my husband working so much, but it ended up being the best thing for me. It taught me so much. I was so depressed during that time because I felt purposeless. I felt like this terrible wife. I was not doing anything to contribute to the family. And on top of that, we had no idea what was wrong with me. And I kept going to doctors and all my blood work and tests would come back normal. And so no one believed me that I was actually sick. And so I felt like a crazy person. And my husband believed me. Luckily, I am so blessed with him. He has been so supportive through all of this. But until a few years after that, when we actually figured out what was going on, which that whole story is on my channel. We're not going to go into that detail because this video is already 20 minutes long, you guys. Sorry, this is a long one. But the point is, I was completely depressed, and I thought, my life is over, my career is ruined, my life is ruined because of this chronic illness. And I kept blaming my chronic illness for everything. I was blaming my unhappiness on all the pain I was experiencing. And I thought, I will not be happy until I don't feel this pain anymore. And the next couple years were a lot of learning, and it was so hard. It was really hard. And after that, I actually went through a couple miscarriages and some infertility. And so it was just like one thing after another was piling up on me. And I just felt like my life was not how it was supposed to be. It wasn't working out how I thought it would, which to me was the only way that was supposed to be. And now, here I am a few years later, and I still can't work. I've found things that have helped me. I have found things that have made my pain less severe. I've figured out what chronic illnesses I have, and I no longer feel like a crazy person because I know that they are real, and I am finding ways to, make small changes. But I still feel pain every day. I still feel chronic fatigue. I still have really bad flare-up days where I can't do anything. But I am so happy, and I'm so happy that everything worked out the way it did. And the reason that I am so happy is because I have found that this chronic illness has taught me so much. I think if my plan for my life, my perfect plan of me, working and being this perfect math teacher for a couple years, and then being a stay-at-home mom and being healthy, and then doing things that I want to do, I would never have started this YouTube channel, for one. And I am in love with YouTube. Like, it is just my passion. I love it so much. But I would also not be grateful for the small things. I wouldn't be grateful for the small wins that I have in my life. I am so grateful for such small things now. And I don't need this big, perfect life in order to be happy. And I was able to discover over the past few years how to be happy while you're living with chronic pain, how to not look at pain as a problem. And I want to so badly go into detail about how I did that here on this video and here on my channel, but because it was a couple year process for me to figure out, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of things that have changed my brain from I will never be happy until my chronic illness is gone to I'm so grateful that my chronic illness is here with me and humbles me and helps me to be a better person and has taught me so much and has taken me out of a job that I thought was perfect that wasn't, and has brought me to this whole other life that I never would have experienced had I not gone through such severe chronic pain. That's where I'm at now, and I'm seriously so full of gratitude. So if you do want to know how I did it, I do have a course for you. I created a course, and I do charge a little bit for it. And it's not because I'm trying to make money off you, but it's because, one, it took me a long time and a lot of hard work to create the course. And then also because it's a lot of information. And I really wish I could share it here on YouTube, but it's so much that it would just be confusing if you didn't watch them. It wouldn't really work here on YouTube. So I created a course for you if you guys are interested in learning how I've become so grateful and so happy with chronic illness, and how I've learned that my pain is not a problem and that I can be 100% happy without changing anything about my life. I will link that in the description below, and you're welcome to check that out. Of course, I make free content here on YouTube multiple times a week. So if you don't have the financial blessings right now to afford that, then I totally understand. But I do think it is life-changing information, and I would love to share it with you. I genuinely just want to help you guys. I genuinely just want to share the light and the love and the joy that I have found with you, which is why I have this YouTube channel and I share all these things with you. But I created that course specifically to teach you how to be happy while living with chronic illness. So this is a long video, I know. I bet no one's here till the end, which is totally fine. Maybe I just made this video for me to just reminisce about the good and the bad in life. But the point of this whole story is I quit my job. I chose to quit my job because I preferred to feel healthier and to take care of my health over making an income for my family. And it was not easy, and it was a huge leap of faith. I didn't know what we were gonna do, but it all worked out. And I personally believe that it's from my Father in heaven who has blessed me and helped me through this time. You can believe whatever you want, of course, if you are not religious, but that's what I believe happened, is that I was just blessed and I was able to get through it. But that doesn't mean it was easy. It was not easy at all. It's still not easy. Every day is still a challenge, but it can be a beautiful, wonderful life. Anyway, you guys, I'm rambling because I'm just so happy, and it was a fun story to share with you because I'm just reminiscing, and now I'm just thinking about how grateful I am for the trials I have in my life because they just make me such a better person. Oh, I'm just so grateful. Anyway, love you all. Thank you for being here. If you guys did watch to the end, you're amazing. Give it a thumbs up if you did, so I know that if anyone actually made it to the end of this video. If not, this video is just for me, and I will see myself or whoever wants to watch on my next video. I'll see you guys next time.